struggling, so I didn't know. I knew John. Thank you.
Oh, no.
He's still
Not feeling good?
no, he's still recovering.
Oh, I know that.
John was in the hospital that week. He come out, he convalescent center.
Thanks, guys.
figured till we discuss it and finally get a chance to see what we're gonna actually do. I mean, we need copies of everything. There's gonna be quite a bit of stuff that we need to figure out if that's exactly the direction that we're wanting to go to. And, according to, can't think of his name, Missouri Municipal League, he says that we really need to discuss it and address that issue with the full board. So
Okay.
we still don't have a full board. I had waited last week thinking that maybe this week John was been out, but he got out of the hospital, but he didn't get to come home. So we still really want to man short.
Well, last month, Roger had asked for a cost analysis, and that's basically what I was asking for here, so we can better
Yeah.
evaluate that decision.
Understand that. Okay, did receive a letter from everybody get a letter from the Attorney General? Everybody had a chance to read it. Any questions or comments on that? Also, everyone should have a copy of the commercial lease agreement with the lady down there on the building. Has everybody had a chance to review that or look it over?
I had, Pete, and there's a lot of discrepancies in here that I noticed. On the first page, there's a discrepancy on the date. It talks about term of lease. I believe that's supposed to state 2019 instead of 2022 that the lease starts. And does the lease expire 1 year from now? Is that right? So it'll be 2020, is that right?
If that's what we so desire. If we want to do like 1 year lease of time, and that's the purpose of this thing, so we can review it and see if we're in agreement, see if we want to do that.
Yeah.
I think she finally did get us a copy of the insurance, and she is paying for the utilities on that. Any changes on this agreement or anything that we don't like or want to change, but that's the purpose of it. I mean, we don't have to set and go itemized to it right now, but making comments such as just out there, you know, that date, you know, is just something that's been overlooked. So
On the last page of that lease, it says no rent being charged for the 10-month waiting period while Medicaid approves proposal.
yeah, and they're not doing any business, and that was the reason for us asking her to put insurance on the building and to pay the utilities in it, because they're not actually doing anything for the first 10 months because they won't allow them to start, and that's the reason there's no fee on that. So once she gets started, then her rent will get started. But the only thing it's doing us is saving us from paying insurance on the building, and it's not costing us anything. Of course, then she's doing any upgrades to the building in order to get in it, because we didn't do anything. When Jackie got out of there, we got her stuff out of it, we didn't do nothing at all. So even though we're not charging her right now, it's not costing us anything.
When she starts making a profit, we start getting.
Well, once they allow her to start, she's got to go through a pretty good rigmarole of paperwork before she can start. And I'm hoping that by the time she gets ready to get started, that we've got this down pat as to exactly how we want that agreement. So that's the purpose of us going over that. So that way, once we're already ready for it, well, we can get into the agreement with her. And then a year pretty well is going to expire in that length of time. So that way, when the rent starts, then we can jump in on the yearly basis. If we want to go longer, we can do that. But we did tell her that rent would gradually increase. We didn't want her to jump in there and drown because the rent was so high to start out with, and then we'll review it on an annual basis to see how she's doing and see if increase is appropriate.
So you're not asking us to approve this?
No, I'm not really. I just wanted comment, and sometime between now and next month, I would like to maybe approve it next month. to set a hearing date. This is something that happens to us annually. The state requires it. We can't make any changes on our tax ourselves. It's something that the state does. The only way we can do a tax increase is to go by the vote of the people. And we're not after that, but we do have to have a public hearing to allow the public to put any interest in what they're doing, what the rate is. I don't know exactly what the actual rate is right now. Anyhow, what date was it that we was looking at?
It has to be posted for 7 days, and it has to be done in the month of August. So, if it's posted tomorrow, then you got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It'd have to be posted the next couple of days.
I have to have it submitted back to the county by September 2nd.
So if would be next Monday, that
Too early.
it's too early? Would that be like on a Tuesday, the 27th?
Yes.
So it'll be on the 22nd. And that's the only thing that'll be on that. We just meet, try to answer any questions if we have any public. We have to record it. If anybody shows up, we have to show documentation of who was in attendance. So, this, the 27th time, all right, then everybody? Y'all want to keep it at 6:30?
6:30.
6:30? Okay. Let me write that down so well. On the 20th, is that right? All right, give me 27th. All right, give me a motion on that, somebody.
I'll make the motion that we have the public hearing
27th.
Tuesday the 27th at 6:30.
Got a motion and need a second.
Second.
Now, did you say that that would go before the public for the tax increase?
It's a public hearing. We're not increasing it. Now, the state usually does like a 1/10 of 100%. It don't raise up, but they require us to just allow the public to know what the state is actually doing. Yeah, and it's open to the public, yes. It's what.
So you'll have the polls here open or just like regular
No.
voting?
No. It's not an election. All it is just to make the public aware of what the tax is, the rate, what our tax rate is.
So will you have a meeting here or?
Yeah, we'll have a meeting just like we're having now, and all we're gonna do is just review what the state sends to us and make the public aware of it.
Okay.
As far as any changes, the city's not gonna do any change in them any kind whatsoever.
Will it be all day like?
Oh, no, it'd be a meeting just like
regular
this.
meeting?
We'll answer questions to the public concerning that, and once that's all settled, then we just close out. Sometimes we have public, and sometimes when the public's here, nobody asks questions, the meeting might last 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. So you got that August 27th?
Yes. Let's see. Then we discussed before, I think, I can't think of the fire chief's name. James Whitley was here, remember, was talking to you about possibility of a grant and the way it was laid out. As you can see, I think everybody got a copy of that. Basically, it's a 95.5% grant. They put in 95%, we put in 5%. And they kind of outlined to you the equipment that they're seeking or wanting. I don't know when this is awarded and if everybody does get awarded. Jack, do you have any info on these type of grants? I know we've done them in the past, but I don't recall.
I think they awarded in September, October, but you don't actually, but they announce the awards in September or October, but they don't actually get the money until the next fiscal year, so probably around April.
So, is it this fiscal year you're talking about, is that a government fiscal year? Because they run October, don't they? October.
I think that's why the closeout is for the applications, like September, October, and they award.
I'm pretty sure when he was here, he said that it would be announced like you said, but that they could expect it in January, February.
Okay, maybe earlier than that,
That's what I thought he said last time.
Anyhow, basically, I think what we need to do tonight is, if we're gonna, willing to put in the 5%, then the board needs to make approval of that.
Would that part that we would be paying, would that be considered a capital improvement or not?
Probably have to be.
You have the money in capital improvement? I'll make a motion that we go forward with it. I mean, we're getting $219,000 worth of gear for $11,000.
I have a motion on that.
Second?
All in favor? Okay. Who seconded that? Randy. Okay, we have a invoice from Midwest Meters. Basically, it's just for equipment that they've been using to repair mostly leaks.
Make a motion.
Motion is second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. And then an invoice from the city of Sikeston. This is, I'm sure, for dispatch fees. This is an annual fee that we get every year.
Do you need a motion?
Need a motion to pay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is an invoice for, what am I at, DGA? Okay, DGC Enterprises. This is the chemicals that we're buying for the plant.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And invoice from DGA. Now, DGA can almost run consecutive there with Mike Reynolds. We're doing a lot of mowing, and we run a generator or motor down there for the pump. That takes gas as well, so basically just trying to show you that we've been spending what we've been spending, so you can kind of break it down and look, see what it is. But I need a motion on the DGA invoice.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Mike Reynolds has been written pumps.
And I know we talked a couple meetings ago about getting them some tools. It looks like they've been getting some tools,
They got a few. They
wrenches and
Yeah.
screwdrivers and stuff.
got some of the stuff that they need.
Mhm. Little stuff.
This pump that we rented from Mike Reynolds, is that something that we need to buy instead of rent?
Well, yes, and we talked about it, remember about buying one, and we've been trying to see about trying to get one through the federal, the surplus. We also have a pump that, now that we finally got ourselves online, that we can try to either repair ourselves or send it somewhere and get it repaired. It's a big enough pump to handle it, but we need to find out if the thing is worth fixing. And if it's not gonna cost us an arm and leg when we get that thing back apart, I'd like to see that happen. And if it's not, then we need to go ahead and try to go through that surplus and buy what we need. Yeah, need a motion on Mike Reynolds invoice.
I'll make it.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? on Banner.
Oh, this was a pump test that
Yeah.
ran on the
They
fire
come-
truck?
They come and,
I thought we already okayed that.
we did, but, we just need to make approval for payment. We approved to get it done, and now we finally got an invoice. At the time, I don't think, James could tell us exactly what that was gonna cost. He kind of gave us a roundabout. This kind of tells you exactly what it was.
Make a motion with that.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay, that's all that I have on my docket. Carl, you got anything up?
Yeah. They got a lot of tall grass here in town on empty lots and stuff. You know, that boy we got mowing for us. I know he's doing what the city has, but I'm about like Jackie on this revising something about where you was talking about that time.
We mailed out 25 or 30 tickets, I just took them on myself, because usually no.
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
Notices to City Hall. they
But I
get
didn't
theirs.
know, well, I know you was talking about revamping the ordinance, or however you was talking about doing that. We need to do something.
Well, I think we found a loophole there,
Yeah.
and we looked at 602 instead of, what was it?
620, wasn't it?
Might have been 620, instead of 602.
I know it's pretty bad. Like I said, Bolton is doing all they can do. I mean,
Anyhow, that other guy, there went a few weeks where he worked more than it's part-time, but what he's doing is helping mow. Still right now, he's mowing 3 days a week. If you keep him at 3 days, he's gonna stay pretty much behind as fast as grass. So sometime or other, we may have to increase him a little bit, so he maybe get caught up.
Do you wanna get with him so y'all can look at your list later?
Yeah, show him your list. So he's giving out 25 tickets.
Man, maybe the same one.
Maybe, and then there may be some that he's not sitting in. Right, anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yellow house down there on Cole Street, I know you guys argue about it. My opinion is this, I'm not gonna have a vote on it, whether it stays or it goes down. That was done for me. If he's gonna have electric in it, instead of running the cord across the road, have Ameren come out, and if Ameren says they can't hook it up to it, then something's gotta be done.
I think that it was already.
It was.
I mean, but the extension cords across the road, there's a lot of people grappling about that.
Yeah, I think that's something that me and you talked about.
Yeah, I just had to call you home to talk to you about moving that extension cord. Usually he's out there moving around the yard, but I don't know, it's kind of the weather and the heat, but I haven't seen him out that much lately.
And we're waiting on the county to move forward on that?
I need to get Bobby over here. He promised me a month ago that he'd be here, because I've got 2 other houses that are ready to come down too. And, but usually what he does, comes over here and we mark them, and then he brings his crew over here and they'll know where they're at. And, he just hadn't done it. That's the reason why we're at right now.
There's the trailer house over calling fire Cole Street, they gonna tear that down, or is it gonna be left standing?
I'm sure that somebody's gonna have to tear it down because they can't do nothing with it. I don't know.
Sean Kinder's old house, that's, I mean, somebody takes something to push walls in on it.
Yeah, that just needs to be burnt again now. I mean, it's gonna be a small fire and be taken care of.
That's all I got right now.
I'd just like to get clarification on these questions that I'd asked for, yes or no. Are we gonna be getting this information to the board or not?
Yes, well, what I'd like to do is, hopefully we can have a work session this coming week. So we can get down and get the detail and then decide what direction we're gonna go in and try to get all that information to you.
That's all I've got.
I called about the transmission for the dump truck, and I can't remember what we voted. Huh? What? You called and ordered it? When? Was the actual time? It was cheap, the shipping was only like $225. I mean, we couldn't go over and get that for that.
Oh, shoot, no.
And it all fell under that, what did we say, 1,500 is what the top, and that fell way under that, so.
I think we set aside 2,000 for it.
And it was
And,
1225.
we've got, the guy up here, has got the rod, said he put it in there for 400. So I guess we're in line over there for, I think we're at that. What else you got?
That's it.
Right. Only had one sign up, it was from Joe Shears. Joe, what you got?
Yeah, I'd just like to address the board. Had a question for Alderman Hensley. Have you had a chance to read ordinance 435? I know we've discussed this several times. There's ordinance 435. I'd like to know, Pete, when I attended the public water meeting up there with Mitzi Dale, we talked about putting a churn up there on my lot, that they installed that churn
Yeah.
and tapped in no meter, and I need to know when I'm gonna get an invoice for that and who I'm gonna pay.
Okay, we'll have to get together and figure out that cost. I don't think that there was no bore or nothing, so it shouldn't be no big deal.
Yeah, I was on A side there. Okay, my next point of order is, the letter from DNR that I guess was mailed to everybody. It states down at the bottom that monitoring failure was a result of multiple operators' employment termination. The city of Morehouse did not have an operator employed at the time of the violation, and samples were not taken and tested. Does Wes Atkinson, is he still paying a license over there and the city paying him?
He does know.
Did he during this time period?
I'm sure he did.
Well, that's why I'm a little confused why it says that the city did not have an operator.
Well, I'm sure that is stating operator that we have on hand. Wes is a backup, and he will do as requested by the city. But the city was not aware of the fact that those reports wasn't made until we got in violation.
Okay, so this would be a result of Wayne's negligence.
I think it was Wayne's and Junior's. It's two different time frames. I think, if you look.
Okay, well, Junior was already gone by September.
Yeah, but I think there's another old one there that we were just made aware of.
Okay, well, September of 2018 was during Wayne's tenure and during May of this year. That, and then on the letters I got from the Attorney General's office, and I assume y'all discussed it a while ago that y'all received the same letter. It states in there that the city's to get with me and give me the shut-off registers.
I don't know.
Yeah, it says it in your paperwork. And I'd like to know when I'm gonna be contacted on
Yeah,
that.
those have to be redacted.
Well, actually, included in the packet, it has the opinion from Jay Nixon, opinion 95-2001, that the only thing that's to be redacted is social security numbers. But a name, an address, that does not meet the qualifications of redaction. And if Joe Fox would like to challenge that, he's going to have to cite the specific section of law that enables them to redact those sections.
Well, I'll get and talk with him and see what he says.
Okay.
If I remember right, one of the past meetings, he said he didn't want names, he just needed numbers.
Well, Jackie, that was 10 months ago when I submitted that request.
This was just a few months ago when you said you just wanted names.
When I initially submitted my request was in October of last year. And y'all made me play ball, so I'm wanting the full shut-off register report, as the law requires.
I just wanted to clarify.
I understand, and I'm glad you did. That way everybody knows the confusion. And yes, the names weren't important. But now I'd like to know why it went from, in May of 2018, it was $25,000 in delinquent water bills. And as of March 2019, we're already over 27,000.
That goes up and down. You know, just.
Well, but we have an ordinance that states that 2 months of failure to pay, you get shut off. You know, I've talked to a lot of landlords and they've said that, hey, the city allows my tenants to run up a couple $100 water bill, my tenant moves out of town and I'm stuck paying it because there's an ordinance that says the landlord has to pay.
Well, that landlord also has the right to set the deposit. In other words, if he wants to set that deposit at $150, he is so allowed to do so. You know, so he doesn't run into that, because just about every landlord's gonna get beat out, not just on that, but rent. People move out overnight. And the way we're set up, you owe probably a little over 2 months by the time your shut off hits, the way our ordinance is set up. And with the increase on our water rates, that's making somebody's water bill, it could possibly, if they're a heavy user, their water bill could possibly be $150 by the time they're shut off, the water's shut off.
Okay. And then my final thing here is, last month, Marilyn, how you stated that the city clerk was a salaried position. I'd like to know when the Board of Aldermen voted to make the city clerk a salaried position, and what's the ordinance number for that?
Well, I don't think that we have an ordinance. I think whenever we discussed her salary, that we were discussing at the same time that try to move everybody into a salary position in order to avoid the increases that the state requires of us as far as minimum wage, and they agreed with the salary. I mean, with the increase. And,
Yes.
And going into, everybody is on salary that we have except for one individual, and that's Bull Foskey.
Okay, because in the April meeting, you voted at a set hour rate. There was nothing discussed about a salary in the public meeting. So I just wanted to clarify that, if there's an ordinance
No,
on
there's no
that
ordinance.
being a salary position.
I don't think there's an ordinance on any of the salary positions.
Understood. I appreciate your time.
Okay. All right, that's all we're loading down with, so, need a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm going to interrupt because it's important. Are we under a boil water order?
No.
Nobody's even told us yes or no. I'm still buying water
Why would we be under the boil water order?
because when you shut the water off and return it back on, like they're working on it right now. So I didn't know.
No.
I mean, I don't work.
No, the only time that we go under the boil water order, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if we bust the line or break the line and lose pressure, that allows contamination to get into your system. And
Well,
that's
you know,
why,
when they're hooking up the new water
if they're
lines.
doing it under pressure,
Well, what she's getting at, don't meet the time criteria. The water has to be off for a certain amount of time per DNR. And if it's off, I think, over, I'll throw a rough number out there, because I don't know it off the top of my head, I think it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, then it has to go under
Then
the
it goes
water.
under a boil water.
But these guys are getting the lines ready, they're cutting the road line and hooking the new line right there.
Okay,
So
that's what I want to
Yeah.
know. That's it.
they got one crew that, excuse me, that comes through and digs and gets everything ready, and then there comes another crew
But
that
no,
comes
I've
in,
seen
cuts the
that.
line, and hooks it right straight up.
I've seen that too. People saying that we're under boil water, and we are not under boil water.
If we're working on our water lines, do we have to call somebody from the city to come and turn the water on and off, on and off?
Well, so ordinance says that you're supposed to have your own shut-off. You're not supposed to get into our meter. There's an ordinance against getting into those meters, but you're supposed to have your own shut-off. Otherwise, we have to do that. And,
Because we don't have one of the, I don't have one of those.
now, most people don't have their own
I
shut-off.
was in a call.
Most people do, but some of the older houses, you know, and your water line breaks in the middle of the night, you can't get a hold of city worker.
Go to
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
you know, and now especially that we've got these new meters, people getting into them things, they can tear that wiring up and that's gonna foul the meter up. And that's why we probably need to be pretty adamant about, and we have been actually on new connections, but we're pretty adamant about, getting people to have it on shut-off. You don't have to have it out there in the ground. I've got mine where if something happens to my house, I can go to my hot water heater and shut it off, and it shuts my whole house off, inside the house. And that's the way you set the system up, so that way, a woman can go and shut it off without having to get out there in the mud in the middle of the night, like you were saying, and shut it off. But not everybody's set up that way.
How much longer are the workers gonna be working on this stuff?
We're thinking about somewhere around 3 weeks, they ought to be getting real close to be getting done. We're running off the new plant. I'm planning to try to have an open house for the water plant itself. They're fixing to tear down the old plant and
Yeah, I saw that's good, they made.
start trying to get that down. They haven't said anything about the tower yet, but we're hoping that they can clean up some stuff around there, because I wouldn't want people over there and somebody falling in a hole or something. As soon as they get the grounds ready to where it'd be presentable. The inside of it's ready, as far as people being able to see. But the outside for public, what I'd like to do is do a public setting to where people can actually come and look at it and have an open house at the city hall. So that way people can also tour the city hall as well and do it all in one day.
Are they gonna come and fix all the stuff, like put
They
more
are.
meters and stuff? I can't even mow.
After they get done, and that's something else that we definitely need to get done, somehow or another need to advertise it, is get people to turn in. I know Joey and them talked about their culvert stuff, but also in their yards. If you've got holes or your meter's not covered up good, the landscape's gonna change when it rains. And I'm sure they're gonna try to get around and get everybody, but we need to start making a list of people that have concerns.
That's
So that
a good
way we
idea.
can turn that into them and then we can inspect it. They won't be released until the city releases them, and I'm hoping that we can catch everybody. But a lot of times people won't say anything. And if it's an
Well,
oversight on our part or theirs,
It's just so hot to do anything right now, and I don't feel like going out there picking up bricks and stones and broken glass. And no, it's too hot. But maybe they can get back to that.
yeah, they will. They're supposed to take care of every bit of that after they finally get complete.
Okay.
Pete, I got a question. Are they gonna do the churns from Madison? They putting in new churns from Madison over to Headley and then out at West Acres?
They're supposed to. I don't know, I don't think West Acres is included, but everybody in town is supposed to get all new churns.
I think those stickers is included.
Is included? I didn't remember. Oh,
Yeah, not
Yeah,
lines.
not lines, yeah, churns.
But
Okay.
churns and new meters.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I
Yeah,
understood
everybody's supposed to
John.
get churns and new meters, yes.
Okay, that way everybody was on the electronic meter.
Yeah.
This letter that was sent out on the drinking water, was that sent over to Public Supply District number 3 so they could notify their customers?
We're supposed to take care of that.
Okay.
Try to.
Good deal.
And, you know, we don't have all their information, but we send it to their operator.
And then they
that-
distribute it.
Yeah.
Understood. Yep. Thank you.